The Ethereum Foundation has laid off 20% of their staff, and as a surprise to none, Vitalik still has a job. But more on that in a second. Welcome to Cryptocurrents, the weekly podcast of people working in crypto and blockchain, talking about everything you need to know in crypto and blockchain. I'm your host, Vince, and today I'm joined by Katya from the Mu team.
Hello.
And Kale from the Crypt team and the Trenches.
What's up?
So we'll talk about the Ethereum Foundation in a second. This is hot off the press that has me insanely excited because I think it's so dumb. And that is Mark Zuckerberg has directed Meta to create a prediction market app. In true Meta fashion, they just go, ooh, let's also do that. Which I felt like they did with crypto. They certainly did that with NFTs. They did that with the metaverse. But now they're just like, oh, look at all this money that's being made in prediction markets. And I just hope they'll have prediction markets on AI Facebook posts to see if boomers can figure out if it's an AI post or not. I feel like I could clean up. But
Yeah.
Talk to me about this, guys. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you nailed it with him being late to the trends. This seems like a very Mark Zuckerberg thing. He's always chasing things. He's very in my eyes, B tier supervillain because he tries all these he tries all these supervillain tactics, but he loses at all of them. He tried the surveillance Facebook thing. I get it. I'm getting I'm going on a tangent, but basically Facebook was his only golden egg. And it feels like everything else after that has been a massive failure. And he's trying to recreate the Facebook moment, but he's not getting there. Even with Threads, Threads was a reaction to Elon buying Twitter. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't see this going anywhere. We'll see.
I mean, that's kind of a good point. Everything good that Meta has done has been an acquisition, right? Instagram acquisition, WhatsApp
Or a
acquisition, or what else is a copy that's done well?
Well, I guess features, wasn't stories or something a copy of TikTok or Snap or
Snapchat,
something?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. So they did copy some stuff well, but I certainly don't think they're going to be able to copy prediction markets well. But
yeah, no, even the AI, he he's tried to enter the AI scene with the Meta AI. It's not doing well.
That's right.
Yeah,
I did hear that apparently those Meta AI Ray-Ban glasses turned on facial recognition for people you were looking at, and then they're like, ooh, people don't like this. Shut it down.
Yeah, that seems like a violation of privacy for sure.
Just a bit. But yeah, Katya, are you going to be doing prediction markets on Facebook anytime soon?
Have we met?
So absolutely.
Prediction markets and Facebook at the same time? The probability of that is, what's the negative 10th degree?
If the Zuck wants to revive Facebook, what he needs to do is bring back Farmville. Bring back Farmville, actually, and bring it on chain too. On chain Farmville. That would be dope.
The thing with the Meta prediction, I think it's supposed to be called Arena.
Mm-hmm. Gross.
Gross.
Yeah.
But and the thing is, I think the plan, at least for now, is to start it with points. It wouldn't even be actual money at first.
Yeah, wink, wink. Starting with points.
Yeah, that must be a regulatory thing to get around.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I don't know. You're right. This is just what Facebook does recently, not even recently, forever. It's what they've been doing. But also it's kind of hard to single out the blame because everybody just wants a piece of this. Everybody is trying this thing because the appetite for the prediction markets has been so out of control. It's the other day I was telling you guys about this data visualization where how Americans spend their time, and it's this bar graph that moves around, and how and it's from 1920 to today for the past 100 years. At first, the distribution of different tasks like housework and meeting friends and whatever is pretty steady, and then when radio comes on, it takes everything over, and then the TV comes on and it takes everything over at double the speed, and then internet and streaming comes on and takes everything over at triple the speed, and all of these addictive technologies are taking over faster and faster and faster, from their starting date, the adoption. So I feel prediction markets have, attracted so much attention and so much appetite in a record short time as a new technology that it's really even hard to blame everybody trying to jump in the wagon. I think it's all evil. yes. But for people who are like out who are in it in this life to try and make money, it's hard to argue against trying at least to get into the bandwagon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
is
even if
true.
everything goes right, like 100% perfect, Zuck still needs to compete with Kalshi and Polymarket.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough for sure.
I mean,
Yeah, and they're ahead. They're far ahead.
I also wonder though, what is the Venn diagram of people that use Kalshi and Polymarket that still use Facebook? Because I feel like a lot of people that are, internet natives that are kind of into the Kalshi, the crypto, and the Polymarket probably don't use Facebook that much
Yeah, they're not on
anymore.
Facebook.
No,
And
but
yeah.
I told you also, right? Like I shared this news with you the other day that Time magazine, like what is the Venn diagram for the readers of Time magazine and Polymarket?
Well, if it's
Like,
Signal,
Good
come
question.
on, it's
You know
Signal.
what?
so, but Time magazine has these little like gamelets online, and it added this market mover something game, and I played it, and it's basically it's testing your knowledge of what the markets are saying right now, like so what the prediction markets are saying. So it's saying like, are they saying that it's more likely that a Europe team will win the World Cup, or a first time ever country will win the World Cup? And you just keep like selecting it, and you have like 90 seconds or something, and at the end you get a score of how well you did, and you get like a streak and whatever. So it's not money, but it's like a game on I guess it's like, what's that game? Survey Says, what's the game?
Simon says?
No, Family Feud.
Well, like you have to know like what is the number one thing that like couples fight about, and they did a survey somewhere, and everybody guesses, money, kids, whatever, and then it puts it up on the board saying what percentages were actually reported by the survey. It's kind of like that, like, do you know what the poly market, like our markets are saying right now, like for this, like some of them I guessed well, some of them were like, is this person or this person the more likely to be voted off Love Island? I'm like, have no earthly clue. Like what? So like, but Time magazine, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Two, I will have to say that I actually checked the New York Times games app because I have it, which also has a similar concept. Like they have like Sudoku, some word games, whatever. They do not have a prediction markets game as of yet.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
proud
Yeah, keyword.
and relieved to report, but Time magazine does.
I mean, people like games. Like, how much did they pay for Wordle? Like, I think it was like $100 million for Wordle, which is
But come on,
banana
do not
sandwiches.
compare Wordle to prediction markets.
I mean, what
Vince.
you
We are
just
not going to be
described to
friends
me.
anymore.
I mean, dopamine is dopamine.
That's true.
You
All of
know
that
what, you
is to
kinda-
say we need to bring back BuzzFeed quizzes.
You kind of unlocked something in my head, Vince, about like the overlap in Kalshi and Polymarket.
Mhm.
I assume that Facebook users aren't really active on prediction markets. And if that's the case, then it's like, this might go well for Facebook with the arena thing, because they're like breaking into like a totally new target audience for prediction markets.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to try and, I don't think there's any way in hell they're going to steal market share from Kalshi or Polymarket, but they're going to find an entirely new market. Because they do still have so many users. Allegedly, they might just all be bots.
Probably.
But this also dovetails into Schwab, which is adding yes/no prediction markets for like end of day trading for the S&P and indexes. How do you guys feel about that? Is Schwab going to be the next token to follow, or is this them just giving people what they want? I have no idea.
I think they're like testing for appetite.
Yeah.
And seeing, because if this works out, like this is like as basic as you can get with it, and I think it just pays out cash. So like either you get a payout or it goes nowhere if you get gets wrong. But I think they're just gauging interest, and if it's anything at all, then they're gonna build out a whole thing, I think.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I can see that. What I thought was interesting is that they like don't have to deal with a lot of the legal overhead that Kalshi and Polymarket have to deal with. Because they're not implementing sports betting and politics and all of that. So because it's only like betting on finance, they like get to skip in front of the line for the US regulators or something. It's like a totally different product legally. So I thought that was interesting.
And maybe they will, because even these platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket are trying to justify their business model by saying it's also good for institutional because they can hedge against things because, betting and yeah, sure.
Interesting take.
Yeah, no, yeah, they it's one of their talking points that like this is an actual institutional product, like it's good for the economy, it's good for the market because it allows institutions to do that. But with Schwab, because they are so suited and buttoned up, maybe if they lean into that, that will actually be where institutions, if they really are interested in this prediction markets play, where they will go over Polymarket or Kalshi, where like people are getting sued every week for insider trading.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely feels like they're testing the market, like you said.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see them post like some of the results of the appetite for it. Because again, like if you're using Schwab, you're probably a pretty sophisticated older investor. Like I mean, like they appeal. They acquired Thinkorswim, which is a desktop trading platform, and so they appeal to a lot of like very powerful power users of brokerages. And I feel like these kind of prediction markets, the yes no is just for the casuals. But I don't know. But I've also decided that anytime anyone like talks to me and they're like, oh well, this is a hedge against blah blah blah, I'm just gonna stop the conversation and be like, explain to me how it's a hedge. That's
Yeah,
such a buzzword for so many people, so many projects in crypto, that I'm like, no, explain to me exactly how it's a hedge. Because people just like parrot that every
just
time. I'm
hedging my bets, bro.
hedging my bets, man. Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But speaking of betting, and I sprung this topic on you guys because I think it's fascinating. So DoorDash has rolled out a bunch of different kind of like activations for the World Cup, which is going on right now. And the one that actually caught my eye and I participated in was you just had a
Of course you did.
you just picked who you thought was going to win the World Cup and then placed an order, and they're like, cool, if you're right, everyone that's right is going to split $5 million
Dude,
in DoorDash gift cards. And I'm like, what a great idea for an activation.
dude.
Because like I don't care who wins. And it just like as a user, it like engaged me. And now I'm like, oh, well, how's France doing?
Now you have
In
a now you
FIFA, like I have a horse in this fight
yeah.
with, no actual money on the line, but it engaged me in the app. I then ordered food to like secure my entry. And I'm low-key obsessed with these kind of activations that I feel like we're seeing more and more of them in technology where it has something that does nothing to do with what that app does, but they're engaging you in a really meaningful, interesting way to like I think it's such a cool idea from audience development and user engagement. But Kale, I saw you had a big response. But
Dude, well, first of all, before I forget, like what I like about this is what I like about apps doing this is like it keeps them culturally relevant,
yeah,
because it's like they're doing things, like you said, that has nothing to do with their app, but it has to do with like the broader global culture. So that's always fun to see. Like they're connecting with users in a unique way. But dude, that thing that you did to the winner split 5 million, like I wanted to do that so bad. But by the time I read about it and learned about it, it had been done for weeks.
yeah,
I think it ended on like June 10th.
something like before it started. Yeah,
Yeah, so like I didn't learn about that until like yesterday, and I I read that and I was like, damn, bro, I wish I knew about that earlier because I would have like put a $20 bet and just YOLO.
I mean, it kind of speaks to, hey, the fact that you didn't know that and are like a prime candidate for it shows that their marketing team kind of like dropped the ball on that.
That's a
But
good
at the
point.
end of the day, like I think this is a cooler marketing thing than like, I just saw a commercial for McDonald's that's like, look at all the soccer players in the World Cup, but they're at a McDonald's drinking soda. How cool is that? I'm like, this does not make me want to engage with McDonald's. I hate that this is on. Like I hate everything about this. Is this kind of the new version of marketing? Is like this kind of like cool, action behavior driven thing.
It feels like it, but I don't think it'll last like
Yeah.
too long.
Katya, you've got a pensive look about you. You're upset that this worked on me, aren't you?
No, I've ceased to be upset about things, you getting excited about
That's
the,
fair.
gambling marketing things and trying to game apps that go out of business later. as this new way of market. I think this is like a new, and not even a new, just like a different kind of lottery.
Mhm.
Like that's kind of all it is. And if you all the statistics about lotteries, like the lottery ticket sales have been going up for years and years and years, and you always read these statistics about like who uses the lottery more, and unsurprisingly, it's people lower income
Who
households
shouldn't be playing the lottery?
who shouldn't be, who are spending like $600 a year on lottery that they could, invest or save or something. But because in the moment it seems like investment or saving seems to be so unattainable, like the lottery seems just like the better, both emotionally and even maybe objectively to them seems like the better opportunity in the moment. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, it's just more lottery, like prediction markets and all of that stuff. Like everybody, like 99% of people are losing money on the lottery, on prediction markets, on all of this stuff. And I don't know. I'm sad about that. I'm sad that like I guess it's not the company's fault. I guess maybe I'm just sad about cognitive psychology that like this stuff works so well and it's actually so bad for you.
Yeah. Well, I think that there is a lot to be said from like a product perspective of engaging users and kind of like rewarding the behavior that they were going to do anyways. I think that that's kind of interesting. I feel like that builds a little bit more brand loyalty. So it's not necessarily like purely extraction from the user base. Like Robinhood does a pretty good example of that, where it's like, well, you're going to contribute to, your IRA anyways. We're going to add a 3% match. Like that's kind of a cool thing, I think. But
Well,
eh,
I mean, I see what you're saying in terms of like you're not being bribed to do something you wouldn't do otherwise do so that
I
you're
was gonna get
only
those Ike's. I was gonna order those Ike sandwiches
right.
regardless of what they were doing. I can't be
Yeah,
bothered to drive there.
yeah, and so now it's kind of like a little reward on top, potential reward on
Yeah.
top of like what you did, like you said, what you're doing anyway.
You know what's another appeal too, in my opinion, is like not only you're getting a potential reward for something you would have done anyway, but also what I mentioned earlier, like you have skin in the game now. So like for
Yeah,
somebody,
now you gotta wait and see what happens. Yeah.
people like Vince and I who like don't follow sports, but then it's like I'm gonna do this DoorDash thing anyway. It's like now all of a sudden my competitive nature is like awakened, and I'm like, yeah, go France, go France, go
Yeah.
France.
And
So like
the best part
that's the
is,
fun part.
do you know how I picked France?
What?
I went on Polymarket and said, "Who's gonna win the World Cup?" And France, according to Polymarket, was the favorite. And I'm like, "Okay."
Dude, smart
You
wisdom
know,
of the
you
crowd.
know what I thought you were gonna say, that then you went on Polymarket and bet against it, and I was gonna say that's
That's a
Hedging my
hedge.
bets. Let's go. That was good.
Man. All right, so let's move on and let's talk Pokemon. Kale, read me in on the Crypto Collector Club.
Dude, I'm so stoked on this. This is my biggest on-chain bag, so don't let me shill it. But what's happening here is Collector Crypt has recently passed PumpFun in daily on-chain revenue. And so for people who aren't really paying attention to the trenches, it's kind of a surprise because PumpFun makes a lot of money. They do a lot of revenue. So for some like random on-chain company that nobody has really heard of to be doing more revenue than PumpFun is, I think, big news for our industry.
Well, I'm back up. What is the company? Like, what is
Okay,
it that they
so
do? Explain it to me, Lucy.
basically
He
they
doesn't
take
know what that means.
He has no idea what that means.
no, I'm just gonna keep going. So it's taking advantage of the whole Pokemon, not only Pokemon, but like collectors, trading card collectors craze. Because so basically the whole trading card collecting industry runs off of eBay and like brick and mortar shops. So if I want to go buy like $100,000 Charizard card, I need to go check the brick and mortar shop, see if they have it. They probably don't. So then I need to go on eBay, buy it on eBay. But then if I do that, there's like a 20% fee that eBay takes, from the seller. And that price normally like gets passed on to the consumer. So it's like a whole big messy operation. Like the logistics of trading card industry right now is like pretty messy. So what these guys did is like they brought everything on chain, and they have like their cards are insured in a place so that like you own them on chain, but like if something happens to them physically, you get paid out. And the business model is like insane. I don't know who came up with this or like how they engineered this, but it's like wizard work. So basically the users, every user has a plus 2% EV. So if you spend $100,000 on Pokemon packs, you're expected to get $102,000 in value back
Okay.
on average. And so then on top of that, Collector Crypt, the company, they have a 4.5% margin. So it's like they're making 4.5% because they buy these cards at a discount. And then the users have a 2% plus EV. So the users are like expected to make money too. So like everybody wins. They're like totally cutting eBay out of the
Card game
equation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like, yeah, they're doing very well, making lots of money. People are loving it. It's gaining lots of traction very quickly. And I think that this is the future of Pokemon collecting because the 20% fees on eBay and like ownership, self-custody ownership, like all these things just line up perfectly for trading cards or like collectibles in general. Cause like right now it's Pokemon, but like you can expand into sports cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards or whatever.
I was gonna say Magic the Gathering. Let's
No,
get
exactly.
a Black
Cause like
Lotus up here.
straight up. Yeah. And like another big thing about this is like it's really popular for the younger kids, you know? So like kids aren't collecting watches and cars anymore. Like if you have hundreds of thousands of dollars, these younger people are buying Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something here. There's something here. And I'm really into the idea of bringing Pokemon on chain.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I've always said that, there's a great use case of crypto for collectibles, whether it's NFTs or even like tokenized real world
You're the one
assets.
who's always dunking on NFTs. What are you talking about?
Well, as like stores of value or anything, but I like collectibles. Like, I've always thought the coolest use case for an NFT would be a Broadway ticket. Like, here's my digital receipt of when I went and saw Hades Town or, Wicked or whatever, and I've got that forever. Like,
That'd be
that's
cool.
cool because I keep that stuff anyways, right? Like, as I gesture to my bookshelf. But yeah, so I don't think like stores of value of NFTs, but I do like the premise of them as a digital receipt is fun.
Yeah, and like another thing with like the live markets with these is like the cards are physical objects,
Yep.
right? So like they can deteriorate over time if they're not stored correctly. So like it's another way to like just make the whole user experience smoother, I guess, for lack of better words, because it's like, yeah, for like say you manage a wealth fund and you have $10 million, like, and you want to put money into cards. Right now, your only option is through eBay.
Yeah.
And like nobody's gonna place a $10 million order on eBay and like 20% fee and then buy like 10,000 cards, ship them to the place. No one's going to do that, you know? So like wealth managers who want to go super degen and put some money into Pokemon cards, like you can do that now with Collector Crypt because all these cards are like insured and on chain. So
yeah. But
lots of new
that
venues.
it's flipping PumpFun just because last week we covered their insane bounty thing. So it's nice to see at least
I
a
was gonna
proper
say,
use case. Yeah, go cut it. Talk.
anything flipping PumpFun is great news in my
Yeah,
book.
for real.
Anything displacing PumpFun is amazing. I am not myself a collector or a Pokemon fan, but now everything is only known in comparison. Compared to PumpFun, this is like wholesome fun.
Yeah.
With the collectibles. But I was gonna say, do you think, or do you know from what you've read, Kale, whether like people will mostly want to redeem the physical cards they own, or they'll be like, okay, I'm okay with this digital. Like, I'm interested whether this is just like a conduit to the physical ownership, or like it's the physical
Well,
ownership doesn't even matter as much as anymore.
From what I've seen, at least, that's pretty rare for people to like turn them in back into physical. It is an option. I know that like that's possible. But yeah, most people are like buying packs and then searching for rare cards, just buying packs until they get a rare card. And then when they do get the rare card, they'll either sell it right there, like on chain. Because this is another like benefit of Collector Crypt. Like if you want to sell on eBay, it's like it takes weeks.
Yeah.
But on Collector Crypt, you can just sell it instantly. There's a buyer right there, you get paid. So guys normally will sell it instantly when they find a rare card. So yeah, I think that's like the norm.
So all of that stuff is stored somewhere, but it never even
Yeah.
exchanges hands actually physically. Yeah.
So I would comp this to my fine wine investment, where I have, money invested in fine wine that is held at a secure facility that is like temperature controlled and certified and all of this. And I have the option of being like, yeah, ship me that case of rare champagne or whatever, but I don't because it's an investment vehicle. So I'm like, yeah,
Exactly.
sit there, grow, and then I'll eventually sell you and just pull that.
Yeah, that's like the same mindset with these cards, pretty much.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
excited. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'll definitely have to check it out because I do think that's fun. And let's get some Magic the Gathering up in that.
Dude, for real.
And it's also, I think, cool to see because we do keep saying that RWAs are not just stocks and stable coins. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
it's not just the stocks, it's not just the stocks, but it's kind of like, okay, well, point me to something that's not just the stocks and anybody gives a shit about. But here it is. So like I think that's cool because I do believe that RWAs are not going to be not just stocks and there's room
Mhm.
and as with NFTs like with Vince, like I now I feel like one of those people who goes like who takes a senator's like voting history and goes through it and goes like, but like a year ago you said, like you're always the one dumping on NFTs, and I'm always the one saying NFTs are more than just, like
I
NFT.
dump on the JPEG nonsense. That's all I've ever dumped on.
Yeah, I don't know. We gotta.
I've heard
Roll the
Vince talk
tape
about the
stack.
biology NFT use case.
It's true.
Well, anyway, so yeah, so I do think it's cool to see like an RWA application that's not a stock and not a stable coin and not like finance. It's just purely financial. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
Well, speaking of financial, let's end things where we started with the Ethereum Foundation giving themselves a haircut of about 20% of their staff, which I think is about 60 people. Never fun to get laid off, but it's kind of surprising how I've seen a lot of turbulence and a lot of like backbiting and like harsh words about this on crypto Twitter, which I think is a bummer to see. But what is your guys' perception of this kind of ban? I for one think it's always kind of like good when a institution or company grows significantly to like take a beat and then maybe trim off some of the fat that maybe you didn't need or is just part of that like scaling thing. But what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's especially true what you're saying, like when it takes a moment to consider whether it needs to be at that size. I think that's especially true for something like that aims to be a decentralized organization,
Yeah.
despite all this. So a lot of the things in the space, like especially like the bigger apps, dApps, like we are not following all of that very closely, but like the Uniswaps and Aves and DNSs and all of that stuff, they are like tending in a different direction towards like central, like killing the DAO and just being like, we are a corporation. We need to run like a corporation. We're
Yeah.
just gonna put this money and power into the hands of a board, and that's what it's gonna be. Again, not following that very closely may probably make sense for them, but Ethereum is unique and continues to be unique in its kind of resistance to corporatization. Um, and it's carrying like I think a lot of structurally and even reputationally, right? Like all this every time something happens at the EF or whatever, there's like all these ETH holders descend upon Twitter and starting to, and like they're all like worrying about the ETH price, and it's kind of like it's not about that. So yeah, so I'm not perturbed. I have faith in, because while all of this is going on in the past 10 years, Ethereum is chugging along. So like they figure it out. It's contracted, expanded. We ourselves have bitched about the EF in our own little ways when we
Yeah.
weren't like happy with how they were running the community or whatever, when we were like more plugged into the community some years back with MyEtherWallet. But nevertheless, it goes on and it does fine. Knock on wood.
I just hope they got rid of the guy that didn't wear shoes in that Vanity Fair article. Still grosses me out to think about.
Every company has a character, as you, Vince, know. You wear shoes. You have other things.
Am I the character? Am I the
You are the
drama?
character.
Indeed.
You are the
Shit.
drama.
But Kale, what are your thoughts on this? You shared some very funny memes of people pretending that they had jobs at the EF, which I
Yeah.
thought was pretty great.
I
But like,
mean,
what's your pulse on this in the trenches?
it's overall pretty bleak in my
Mhm.
opinion because I mean, first of all, so like, yeah, they cut like 60 employees. They cut the budget in 2026 by like 40%, I think.
Mhm.
They're removing like whole teams. So they removed the privacy stewards of Ethereum,
Mhm.
which was like a whole like team of people working on privacy on Ethereum. So like that team specifically being removed was like not great to see. But besides like that general bleakness of like it seems like they're going broke. It is like I don't mind the fact that they're like stepping out of the spotlight, so to
Mhm.
speak, and like trying to step back as like the sole operators of Ethereum because one, that's not what they were supposed to be in the first place. And two, like Katya mentioned, like Ethereum is very unique in the sense that it's like very decentralized, you know? So if somebody wanted to, they can just create a fork of EF, you know?
Yeah.
The issue isn't like making a new EF. The issue is like getting people to respect and value your EF that you
Mhm.
are presenting. Like I think Zach Cole and there's another guy, like there was a few like ETH Foundation pop-ups that happened over the last couple of years. I'm not sure if you guys remember. Like they were trying to replace EF, do their
Yeah.
own little thing. So yeah, I don't know. EF will like be a more corporate structure, and I think this will open up space for people like who like Zach Cole or the I forget the other guy's name, but like people in the past who have like tried to create new EFs. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in the future.
Yeah, it's just kind of been like a PR nightmare for me, which I mean, I guess we on this podcast remember when the EF tried to hire their first marketing hire and we're like, "Oh, they didn't have one before?"
Yeah.
And this does feel like it was yet another kind of like blunder when it comes to PR and marketing.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, but this is not necessarily directly related, but like I was thinking the other day, I think you, Vince, I don't remember what this was pertaining to, but you said something like, I don't know if anybody even cares about ETH anymore. And I remember thinking like, but did anybody ever care about ETH? Like people care about meme coins and shit coins and
Mhm.
NFTs sometimes and stable coins other times and DeFi yield and yield farming. There was that whole period of the yield farmers and L2s and whatever. Nobody cared about Ethereum, like from the consumer point of view,
Mhm.
like, and like, I think it's one of its strengths that it's something that doesn't need to be cared about by consumers. It's running underneath everything else that the consumers care about. And sometimes it's this and sometimes it's that. And Ethereum is still underneath all of it, which is also a big responsibility. So I hope that, like, I have faith, but I also, hope that they're not going to screw it up because, because I think if something happens to Ethereum, then the entire DeFi stablecoin tokenization, whatever, it's just going to become a centralized private ledger
Mhm.
That's such
run
a good
by
point.
different private companies, right? Like whether it's going to be taken over by a government or it's going to be some kind of constellation of bank chains or whatever, that verification layer will have to be replaced by something, and that something is going to be a centralized chain.
Yeah, people appreciate ETH like how they appreciate HTTPS.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
they
True.
don't know that they appreciate HTTPS, but if that were to go down today, it's like all the things that they
Yeah.
use would go down.
Yeah.
So in that sense, everybody indirectly appreciates ETH, but like it definitely flies under the radar as like carrying everything. You know, like that one meme where there's like all the random
Yeah. Yeah.
shapes
Yeah.
and
And
it's
there's
like
like,
carried. That's
yeah,
Ethereum,
it's
dude.
like
Yep.
that little like project somebody is
Yep.
running
Yep.
thanklessly for 10 years in like
That's literally ETH.
Ohio. Yep. That's what ETH
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Well, hell, I think that's a great note to end on. Make sure you appreciate HTTPS and appreciate
Hell yeah.
Ethereum because they hold the internet together. But you
Yep.
know who holds this podcast together? It's you, dear listener. Thank you so much for being here. We hope you feel smarter. You should. And we will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.